Eerika.
Thank you. Dear friends of Sport for All, and greetings from Finland. And it's nice and warm in Finland also, but it's nice to be in Athens. And people tend to think that in the Scandinavian countries we live some kind of healthier life than maybe in the southern parts of the Europe or in the Central Europe. But we are facing exactly the same problems. The children are way too overweight, they are not doing enough physical activity. And that's why we also have a new a project towards 2020. What is the vision? How do we get people more active, physically active? And today I'm talking about a case which we have done now during the last 3 years in Finland. We are dealing with sport clubs, local level sport clubs, and especially the Sport for All in the sport clubs, and how do we fund by giving them direct financial support. Let's see which button it was here. So about the background of this direct support for sport clubs. For 10 years they gave direct financial support to grassroots sport clubs in Finland, which dealt with children's physical activity sports and teenagers. And that was okay, but something else was or needed to be done. And we had also heard about the models in Sweden and also in Norway, that they give financial support to local level sport clubs. And we had a nice opportunity in 2008 elections that the Finnish sports federations together made a tremendous political effort to try to get our decisions into the political agenda. And there were 43 suggestions, and one of those was this direct financial support for sport clubs in a wider concept. And the minister decided from all of these propositions that this one was his main thing to get delivered through the 4 years when he was in as a minister. Why did we choose, or why did he choose this kind of financial support for sport clubs? Well, in Finland we have the backbone of our sport system are the local level sport clubs. We have around 9,000 working sport clubs in Finland. We have 5 million people in Finland, and it's based on a voluntary-based work. So in those 9,000 sport clubs, the people mostly work as a voluntary basis. But the thing is that the demand on the sport clubs has risen all the time. They should work with top sport, they should work with HEPA, they should work with Sport for All, they should have social integration programs, they should do everything. And the voluntary people were exhausted. And we needed some kind of support for those sport clubs. Another big target was that we wanted to get people more physically active in the sport clubs, because they are located in all of the communities. They are local, of easy access. They are not expensive to be part of. And the other thing was that with this financial support, we also wanted to support the quality enhancement or development in the sport clubs. And the one basic thing was that the voluntarism needed to be supported. We needed to have people in the sport clubs who take charge of those chores that deal with the everyday management, and so that the volunteers can do what they like and love the best about the sports. Normally the volunteers, they love the sport. They want to be active in that sport. They don't want to fill in the papers or call the municipalities for rooms or facilities. So this was why this kind of support was needed. In 2009, there were decided that there are two kinds of financial support. We still kept going with the development project money, which had already been there for 10 years, but now it was also available for health-enhancing physical activity and sport for all actions for adults. And the development projects were mainly for those clubs who wanted to get more action, more groups going on, how they wanted to develop their programs. But the main thing was that 200 clubs were selected to hire a full-time employee, and they would get funding for 22 months, and it would be half of the salary would come from the ministry, and actually it comes from the lottery. So no tax money was spent to this project, it was the money from the lottery. And we wanted to see long-term results. We did not want this to be kind of like, okay, let's try out if this works or not. We wanted to support the clubs so that they first get the funding, and then hopefully they can continue by themselves after working the 22 months, they would find a way to get the money for the salary. And those 200 people could be employed to the administration positions, or youth managers, or coaches, instructors for children and teenagers. They were not for any kind of top sports or coaching one team or whatever. It was not for kind of like talented. It was for sport for all, the broad level. So how did we succeed? There has been a huge evaluation research work done through when they started to work in the sport clubs, and how did they do in the mid of the term, and how did they really actually succeed then afterwards. Well, the one success was that sport for all and administration especially was a focus, that the people, the volunteers have strength to really actually be there with the children, with the adults, and keep the people moving. We have excellent research system now, and the numbers, what we know, that these 200 sport clubs got over 20,000 new people active in the sport clubs or as a members. And out of these 200 sport clubs, around 120 will continue employing the person or another person. But the problem is that in all of these sport clubs they need the person, but the finances is really tight. They don't. The one aim was that the membership fees should not grow if they start hiring someone, and that's quite a big issue. How to finance a full-time worker in a sport club. Through this pilot project, we have an excellent network of experts now, and we keep meeting them. We get really good knowledge and information, what's happening in grassroots level, what kind of education do they need, and what kind of support do they need. And in a national level, this was also a great example of new cooperation. You see the logos there. We have a kind of like a complex system in Finland. We have the youth sports in a federation by themselves, then it's the Finnish Sports Federation, then we have the Finnish Sport for All Federation, and then we work together closely with the ministry and the lottery, but also all the sports federations and district federations were involved in this program. So everybody cooperated, worked well together so that we could get this thing delivered. How we evaluate the application forms and who gets to be nominated for this kind of grant. And about the development project, you see some of the numbers that over 400 clubs have received this kind of development money in 2010-2011. They have had coaching and instructor education programs, different target groups, and especially for adults. The sport clubs try to get the parents involved in the sport clubs. When the child was doing his or her sport, the parents would also exercise during the same time, so the parents would also be integrated into the sport clubs. They added more local level cooperation with the municipality or with other sport clubs. And in our point of view, it was also excellent that health enhancing physical activity and sport for all for adults was adapted to this program, because it really gave new idea for the sport clubs that it's not only for the youth or teenagers, that the adults can also be part. I can say that this was a success, the pilot project, because Minister Stefan Wallin made this system permanent last September. And now we have 2.7 million euros per year, and we just divided 100 new grants for sport clubs the 27th of May, that the new 100 clubs could hire a full-time employee. And now we also got more money for the development project for sport clubs. So I think overall the best thing was that we had a very good research system which could also be used to give the right kind of information to the politicians, to the ministry, that this is working. And that's why this was made permanent. And then in 2013 we can then yet again offer 100 new sport clubs with a new employee. But the only thing is that, of course, the government has to decide it every year if we get the money. We hope, of course, that we get the money. But we are continuing with this. We always collect the data from the last year, and then we use it to develop it further. And I don't have anything else. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Eerika. Your last slide was